Shantae and the Seven Sirens is the newest release in the Shantae series. I love the Shantae games, and they make up one of my favorite series ever. I have talked about the games a couple of times on this channel, including mentioning Shantae in the video game waifus video that we put out back in 2017, though lately Risky Boots has been inching her way up to my top waifu spot in the series, but I'm getting a little off track here. The game had a bit of a unique release. It was released episodic on the Apple Arcade platform, with its first half coming out late last year and the rest of it coming out this year. The game was released in full on every other platform on May 28th of this year, and I have been making my way through it these last couple of weeks. If you have never played a Shantae game before, they follow the character Shantae, a half-genie who defends her town from her rival, the Queen of Pirates, Risky Boots. Shantae uses magic hair attacks, various items, and spells that she casts by dancing. She is joined by her friends Roddytops, Sky, and Bolo, as well as her uncle Mimic, as she fights various other reoccurring enemies and saves the world from evil. If you want to hear me go a little bit more in depth with the past game's stories, watch my reviews for Half-Genie Hero and Pirate Queen's Quest. Shantae started off as a metroidvania platforming game on the Game Boy, continuing that metroidvania gameplay with Risky's Revenge, and then becoming this sort of metroidvania-light, interconnected platforming game with Pirate's Curse, and then settling on a linear level platformer kind of thing with Half-Genie Hero. Seven Sirens returns the series to its Metroidvania roots, bringing back genre staples like an open expanding map, hidden areas to find, and backtracking through areas once you get new abilities. But how does it hold up compared to other games in the series? Let's dive in.
Rise and shine, don't wanna work, I'd rather play. Shake my hips and whip my hair, it's a new day. Magic won't blow, my heart yells, let's go transform and fly away. We will dance through the danger until the world is saved. Can't stop me now 'cause I'm Shantae.
The game sees Shantae moving away from Sequinland for the first time as she and her friends Sky and Bolo and her uncle Mimic vacation to Paradise Island for the Half-Genie Festival. At the festival, Shantae meets other half-genies Plink, Vera, Zapple, Harmony, and Philin. During a big half-genie dance number, all of the other genies except for Shantae are kidnapped by the Seven Sirens, and Shantae must set out on a quest to rescue them while also solving the mystery of the sunken city. Like the other games in the series, the game is mostly told through still images of the characters with text on the screen, though Seven Sirens does have some voice acting as well. It's not full voice acting, but it's more than in previous games. Best of all, Seven Sirens has several fully animated cutscenes done by Studio Trigger. Studio Trigger is an anime studio that have worked on shows like Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, Darling in the Franxx, and they made last year's movie Promare, as well as intro animations for games like Project Cross Zone. I'm a big fan of Trigger's art and animation style. These cutscenes look very good, and I really want Studio Trigger to make a full anime series or a movie about Shantae now. I'll keep the specific story spoilers for the end as they tie into gameplay. I'll mark that with a warning once we get to it, but for now, let's go on to presentation. The beautiful, hand-painted art style from Half-Genie Hero makes a return, this time in 4K. Character designs and the environment all look great and detailed, and the animations are just really nice to look at. The game is full of life and personality, and it's just so fun to look at and explore. Shantae's dancing, while not as varied or complex as in past games, still looks expressive and fluid. There are several enemies in the game where I stopped and was like, whoa, these guys look really good, especially these tree enemies. I really don't have anything negative to say about the graphics. I'm a sucker for hand-drawn 2D graphics, and Shantae and the Seven Sirens looks gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous, you can rest easy knowing that the fan service and lewd humor that the Shantae games are known for is present and accounted for. The game even makes some self-aware jokes about it and amps it up to new levels even. The weeb inside me is pleased. The only thing I noticed that was different was the Muck Gallery design. They changed it from a sexy Venom to something that looks like a fish in appearance. But other than that, all the physics and assets we've come to love with the series are here and accounted for. They even added to our waifu pool with the new Half-Genies and Siren characters. I never really thought about it until I read Niche Gamer's review of the game, but it's kind of funny how sensual this game does get considering it's an E10 game. But hey, you know what? Let's get these kids started on that 2D lifestyle early.
Mommy has a headache.
The only thing I didn't like as much regarding presentation was the music for this time around. Longtime series composer Jake Kaufman doesn't make a return for this game, and he is missed. That isn't to say the soundtrack for the game is bad. I like quite a few of the tracks, like gameplay for Seven Sirens is almost identical to that of all the other Shantae games. It's a 2D side-scroller with light platforming and puzzle elements and a huge map to traverse. Like with other metroidvanias, you have to backtrack to areas you've already explored at times once you get a new ability, to help you overcome an obstacle or solve a puzzle. To help with getting around the environment quicker, there is a quick travel room that you can use once you find them. Shantae's hair is still the main form of attack, and different magic items can be used to help with combat and defense. These include things like fireballs, pike balls, magic shields, super balls, rockets, and boomerangs. All these items can be upgraded to do more damage, use less magic, and or shoot more out at a given time. That said, I honestly found most of these items to be completely useless, and the only one I found myself using regularly were the pike balls. This is an issue with the previous games as well. Some of the items just are not worth using that much, when the pike balls and using her hair is just a much more effective way of fighting. That said, this time around they did fix the issue I had with Half-Genie Hero where you could make yourself invincible. In that game, you had unlimited magic at the end of the game, giving you a permanent maxed out shield. The shield in Seven Siren uses much more magic, and there's no way to get unlimited magic this time around, so the shield isn't as useful. Overall, combat feels good though, and even though you just spam hair attacks most of the time and jump around to dodge, it's still a lot of fun to play, and the puzzles and platforming sections are fun as well. In the past, Shantae's dances would give her abilities to transform into different animals. This time around, animal transformations are instantaneous, and there are only 5. These transformations are all different and essentially replace older ones. The newt replaces the monkey, and gives Shantae the ability to dash and climb up walls. The dash is not only useful for making longer jumps and help you travel the world faster, but it also gives you the ability to dodge attacks. This is especially useful because the backstep doesn't come back in this game, which was an ability in previous games which was used to dodge attacks. The tortoise replaces the elephant and gives Shantae the ability to break blocks. The frog replaces the mermaid and gives Shantae the ability to swim. The gastrodrill, which I guess is a type of mollusk, allows Shantae to dig through dirt. And lastly, the octopus, which essentially replaces the harpy, gives Shantae the ability to double and triple jump. These transformations are instantaneous and no longer need to go through a dance sequence to pull off. It's actually a change that I like, as it opens the platforming possibilities up a bit, as you can quickly dash and double jump around without needing to pause to pull off a dance. That said, the dances do return, but this time around they have been simplified to simply holding the dance button and pushing the D-pad in the direction of the fusion magic you want to perform. These dances include the Seer dance, which lets Shantae find hidden objects and see invisible enemies, the Refresh dance, which heals Shantae, hurts undead enemies, cures poisoned water, and grows trees, the Spark dance, which lets Shantae power things that need electricity, and lastly the Quake dance, which deals damage to enemies as well as manipulates the environment to reveal new paths. These dances are used to solve puzzles, find secret areas, and find hidden collectibles. Speaking of collectibles, heart squids return, as well as the Squidsmith, who melts them down to make health for Shantae. There are also golden nuggets to find, which can be traded to specific NPCs for rare monster cards. Monster cards are a new addition to the game, which gives Shantae buffs depending on which card she has equipped. You can equip Shantae with 3 at a time. I actually didn't really like the monster card mechanic that much. I felt that a lot of the cards were just useless or very situational, and only being able to equip 3 at a time just felt lackluster to me. Furthermore, the RNG going into getting these cards is ridiculous. There are some cards that I never even saw in my entire playthrough. Some cards require multiple copies before you can reap their rewards too. It just makes collecting them grindy and tedious. Thankfully, the monster cards are not included in 100% runs for the game, so if you're trying to get a 100% speed run, you don't need to worry about grinding to get them all. You do have to collect all the nuggets and squid hearts though, and this leads to my biggest issue with the game. Collecting these things is just so tedious. It took me 11 and a half hours to finish the game, and I'd say probably 2 or 3 of those hours were devoted to finding the last couple of nuggets. I got to the point where I was literally just jumping from room to room, spamming fusion magics and tortoise stomps in hopes that one would pop out. The game really needs some sort of checklist system, or some sort of indicator on the map showing that you found a nugget in a specific room, or even an ability to let the player make custom markers to make it easier to remember where you were or where you need to return to. A certain other metroidvania game has custom map pins, just saying. When I play through the game a second time, I'm going to be playing with a printed map next to me so that I can mark off where I found these nuggets and squids. It's so annoying. There's also one squid locked behind a dancing minigame, and it's a big pain in the ass as well. You need to complete the dance perfectly, one little screw up and you won't get the squid. The last point about gameplay I want to discuss is the difficulty. In my review for Half-Genie Hero, I said that I thought the game was way too easy. The series in general is really easy, with the only exception being the original Game Boy title, but Half-Genie Hero was especially easy. 7 Sirens is more challenging than Half-Genie Hero, but it's still way too easy. I only died a handful of times, and it was because I wasn't paying attention. The game throws so many health items your way that it's literally impossible to die if you eat them when you're low on health. It's also really easy to get money, so I found myself with maxed abilities before the last 2 dungeons with pretty much maxed money left over. And you can always buy health potions if you are running low on food items too. I didn't even really worry about dodging attacks too much or using the invincibility shield because I just had so many health items available, I didn't need to worry about it. Bosses were pretty easy too. They don't require much complex pattern or attack memorizations and really just come down to spamming attacks until they die. Don't get me wrong, the game is a lot of fun. I liked the boss fights, I liked exploring the world, I enjoyed the game a lot, but there just isn't much of a challenge to it. Thankfully, there's a new game plus mode, which greatly decreases how much health you have in exchange for some increased magic. I haven't played through that entirely, but I'm hoping it provides a bit more of a challenge like the DLC for Half-Genie Hero did. Alright, I'm going to go into some story spoilers now. If you don't want to hear them, jump to the time that is listed on the video. So as the story progresses, and you defeat the Sirens and save the other half-genies, you finally have to rescue the last half-genie, Philin. It's revealed that Philin is actually Rottytops, who stowed away and came to the island because she was mad that Shantae didn't invite her to come with on vacation, in which Shantae replies that she was going to invite Rottytops but couldn't find her. It's kind of a goofy reveal that sets in motion the final plot twist. Also, one of the Sirens, the Lobster Siren, turns out to be good and aids Shantae in her quest. It turns out the sunken city is actually an airship. Risky partners herself with the Empress Siren, making a deal that Risky will be given the airship in exchange for the Siren getting to absorb the powers of the half-genies. Risky reveals she had always intended to keep Shantae safe, and this makes the Empress mad, and she absorbs Risky instead, resulting in the final boss fight.
Now this is more like it.
What have you done to Risky?
The boss fight is actually really cool. The first phase was kind of standard, but the most fun and challenging fight in the game. followed by the siren getting huge, and you have to jump on rocks and destroy individual parts of her body. Visually, the scene just looks really cool, and it's fun jumping from rock to rock, attacking specific parts and dodging attacks. Once defeated, the genies get all their powers back and the airship is destroyed. Shantae rescues Risky Boots and joins with her friends back on the island. Overall, the story is charming, filled with humor and likable characters. It's pretty standard for a Shantae story, but that's a good thing considering I'm playing a Shantae game. I laughed out loud a couple of times, especially in regards to Squid Baron's and Roddy Top's shenanigans. The action figure scene was also really funny to me. The Shantae games have just so much charm about them, it's hard not to like them. There were two small things I didn't like about the story though. One is that Sky is just a lazy bitch the entire game, refusing to help Shantae, and is more concerned with relaxing on vacation, despite the danger the town and the other half-genies are in. This carries over into interactions with Roddy Tops and Bolo, and the four main characters just always seem to be bickering in this game. It just felt off to me, especially considering how in Friends to the End, Roddy Tops, Sky, and Bolo really came together as a unit by the end. To see them bickering and fighting just kind of makes Friends to the End feel irrelevant to me now. The other little nitpick I have regarding the story is that when all this ends, all the other half-genies decide that they want to still hold the Half-Genie Festival. We are never shown the rest of the festival and never showed the Half-Genie dance that was interrupted at the beginning of the game. I would have loved to have been able to see the dance once everyone was back. It's kind of a fulfilling conclusion to the journey, but we never get to see it, and it's a little disappointing. I feel I came off a little negative, and I don't mean to be. I really liked the game and would still recommend buying it. It's a lot of fun with a lot of great things to offer. Really, my only major complaint came down to the slog finding all the nuggets and squids this time around, and that the game is way too easy. But it's still a solid Metroidvania. The graphics are gorgeous, the story is funny and enjoyable, the game feels great, I didn't run into any bugs or performance issues, the world is fun to explore, and I really like that they were going back to the Metroidvania roots instead of the linear levels like in Half-Genie Hero. I'm not saying they should make Shantae as complex and challenging as, say, Hollow Knight, but I would like to see the series get a little bit more challenging. That said, I still really liked Seven Sirens, so yeah, Shantae and the Seven Sirens is a welcome addition to the Shantae franchise, and I'm glad to see the game returning to its roots as a Metroidvania. If they continue the formula presented here, maybe add some more animated scenes by Studio Trigger, and up the difficulty a little bit, I would have zero complaints. If you're a fan of the Shantae games, I say Seven Sirens is worth getting. I'd put it in the middle of the series as far as a rough ranking is concerned. If you're new to the franchise, I'd say start from the earliest one you have access to. The original Game Boy one is available on the 3DS eShop, or you can always emulate it, and all of the other games are available on both Steam and GOG, as well as Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. What do you think of Shantae and the Seven Sirens? Let me know in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe as well, as it helps this channel out. Thanks for watching.